During the last election campaign, 2018, the Barbados Labour Party gave a commitment to the people of Barbados that once in government, we would initiate a 24-hour extended service at 2 polyclinics. Those 2 polyclinics given at the time would have been the Winston Scott Polyclinic and Randall Phillips Polyclinic. That commitment became policy through the throne speech that was delivered by Her Excellency the Governor General, and a speech subsequently made in Parliament by the Prime Minister during her budgetary presentation. Having visited the polyclinics, the staff of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and myself, we determined that the David Thompson Health and Social Services Complex was actually a better option for one of the polyclinics replacing Randall Phillips, and we made a recommendation to Cabinet, and that recommendation was the planning for the initiation of the 2 24-hour services. Initially, we had envisaged that we would have been able to roll out the service back in October of 2019, but having had meetings with the unions representing the staff, as well as the staff of the 2 polyclinics, we made a determination with the agreement of Cabinet that we would have pushed the start date back to the 1st of June in order to facilitate the resolution of a number of matters that were raised by both union and staff. And those matters were legitimate, and we needed to be able to have them resolved. Those matters related to things like transportation, human resource issues, security and safety of staff, equipment, and others. And one by one, the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the staff who really worked hard on this project were able to resolve these issues. And so we were ready to commence the service on the 1st of June 2019. Regrettably, some other issues were raised by the unions and by the staff, and we recognized that it would not have been in the interest of the public who we are trying to serve if we had started on the 1st of June, because we could not guarantee the continuation of the service that we wanted to render to the people who deal with this issue. And the ministry went back to Cabinet with a recommendation which was accepted by Cabinet, and that is the reason why I am here to communicate that decision to you. But let me say before I go into that, we in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, we were able to get a number of posts that were created by the Ministry of the Civil Service to facilitate the 2 polyclinics, the extended hours. And we actually recruited about 8 doctors, 14 nurses, and some other personnel, orderlies, medical record staff, and so on. The clinical staff, the nurses and the doctors who would be operating within these 2 polyclinics 24 hours, actually did a certification course that was executed by the Accident and Emergency Department staff at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And that was done so that we would be satisfied that there was a seamless transition of patients who would normally be attending the accident and emergency, who would now be attending these 2 polyclinics. And that training went quite well. And we are satisfied now that with a period of orientation, that the staff that we have, the new staff, will be able to do what is required at the 24-hour polyclinics. Given the situation that we face, and we listen, we engage all stakeholders, and we are now satisfied that the best thing in the interest of the people of Barbados, people who depend on this, who are dependent on the 24-hour service. I'm speaking about people who may not necessarily have the financial resources, but because of the situation, an accident and emergency and the long waiting hours, etc., these persons now go and pay privately at night, expending funds that they probably they're not really in a position to expend. So we decided that we are going to concentrate all of our resources in one polyclinic so that we can have this service started on the 1st of July. And that polyclinic is the Winston Scott Polyclinic. We are doing this out of the interests of the people of Barbados who are expecting that this service will be operationalized on their behalf. And so I'm very happy to report that everything is in order for the start of this service on the 1st of July, and that we will spend the next several days doing some orientation for the staff at the Winston Scott Polyclinic, so that the new staff will be familiar with exactly what it is we expect them to do.